two things. While I'm uploading the video about the Stockbridge bypass, my phone just completely crashed and shut down and had to be started again, which tells me I'm probably onto something. Every time that happens, I know I'm tippy-toeing across being correct lines. So that was funny. So anyway, I forgot to say in the first video when I mentioned about the mines and the limestone quarries. Why limestone? I need to take this back a little to when I was locked up. When my ex lied to get my phone taken off me, when I was being forced to take that poison, and I was going into anaphylactic shock, I was using my phone and playing certain sounds and frequencies and songs and videos and bringing certain things up on my phone to lay on my stomach to help with the pain, because my scars were splitting open and starting to get infected and things like that. And then he lied to get my phone taken off me, and then I had no way to deal with what was happening to my body with the rotting and the pain and the anaphylaxis and that. So I had to think fast on my feet, because I was going to die. I was slowly dying. My heart was not in a good place. I was too scared to go to sleep in the end because I was so weak, because I was being starved at the same time. And every time I tried to defend my science or my indigeneity, they kept upping my medication, and then giving me meds twice a day instead of once. So, I had to think fast. And so I used pine cones and feathers and, certain things that my friend was bringing me back. I used them instead. I called on Atua and Papatuanuku. I put the feathers in my hair for strength, and they upped my medication because I was trying to heal my body. I was drawing on my mana to keep myself alive, with the things that my friend Ruth was able to gather from outside, because she's a cosmic hippie. She's the cute hip. What that girl doesn't know about plants and gardening and stuff isn't worth knowing. And she was bringing me back like pine cones and feathers and certain things that she was drawn to, and then I was able to use them. I've actually still got the pine cone. The pine cone is on my prayer altar, and the lavender is in a jar at my windowsill in the kitchen. I took them with me. I've still got, I think I lost the little baby feathers, but I've still got one feather she got me that I put under my mattress, and one under my pillow, but I lost the one under my pillow, but I've still got the one on my prayer altar. So one day I'll put them in my museum when I'm dead or something. People will go, oh my God, that's the pine cone she used. So, yeah, so while I was in there, one of the things that I did was I wrote my stories, and I was also studying the effects of what I was using on my body to write up little reports and that, because I was moving into the field of like biorhythmics and, trying to engineer stuff out of thin air in order to keep myself alive, while I felt like God's version of MacGyver. When I was in there, I wrote with a little help from my friends, because it kept me focused and awake and distracted from hunger and pain and all of that. But I also wrote, and then they were gone. And it was kind of based on the fact of what I was doing to help the girls, get rid of the boogeymen under their bed and the things they were seeing at night and the voices they were hearing and stuff like that, it kind of was inspired by that, but also based on a lot of events and cases that I'd worked on in my lifetime, and it's things that I'd experienced as a child and that sort of thing all kind of rolled into one story about a little girl called Bea, and she sees things and she goes to visit her nana in the hospital and she's terrified because she knows that the hospitals are the one place where life and death meet in the middle, and it can be quite bothersome for people like her in hospitals, because they're often never left alone because, there's people that are dying in comas, just crossed over, a bit confused after they die, like that sort of thing, or people who are dying but still able to walk around who know that they're special and will reach out, to ask, like it's scary for a child, it's terrifying. So she goes to visit her nan in the hospital, and all these things happen, and then boof, bam, boom. Is it Sam's grandpa tells her to go back to the hospital? Is it? I've got the video because I recorded it over the phone with my friend, the one who was sending me food. I recorded it. She, because I had no phone, so I had to record it over the payphone, and I'll put it up. I'll put a link in the description box below. I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting that. That came out of nowhere. It's just when I think about what I was put through and what I had to do to survive, simply because I'm Māori and I do physics, and I put the two together. If it wasn't for BJ, I would be dead. She absolutely 100% saved my life. She's helping stop a world war and protecting our king. If she hadn't have done all of that, I wouldn't have been able to do all of this. I wouldn't have uncovered any of this stuff with the monarchy or any of it. But I'll put the video in. It's a story, but it needs to be changed because this is what I'm talking about. Brahena Saithusa comes down and gives her the BFG, the biorhythmic field generator, which is what I was working on when I was locked up. I figured if I could put what I was using to help with my pain and all of that into a handheld device, people could turn it on. We could put it inside children's night lights and bedside lamps in that, and it would take all the bad dreams away. It would take all the pain away. Depending on how you tuned it up and down, you could remove paranormal activity and bad dreams and all that sort of thing. But the problem with that is, once I fell down that rabbit hole of direct energy weapons and Nikola Tesla and all that sort of stuff, like, I started to realise that might be dangerous in the wrong hands, because when it involves electricity, if it involves Wi-Fi, electricity, anything like that, people are going to have access to it and use the Schumann resonance to mess around with it. So then I had to think, okay, so even if it wasn't easily manipulatable, even if it wasn't easy to manipulatable, is that a word? Manipulatable. I need to look that up. I may have just invented a really cool word. I'm well clever, me. So, even if it wasn't easy to manipulate, because I want to make my shows where I go around to places like Normandy and Ypres and, you know, where there's battlefields and where there's been like mass death and slaughter, and even where it's places like the Stockbridge bypass where those children were seen in that. Like, I've got products and things that I can use to help fix all of it. And the BFG, I could have just put it down, set the frequency right, and dealt with it there and then. It would do like an energetic sweep of the area where it wouldn't be hurting any of the animals or anything like that. But the trouble is, like I said, if it involves electricity or anything like that, or like energy, they're gonna know. Like, they can have access to that sort of thing. But there's one thing that they can't do is manipulate geology, not like that. And that's where Nikola Tesla came in, because he was starting to figure out that the pyramids in Giza were able to hold sound, hold light, turn it into something special, and then beam it back out through those tunnels and channels and all of that. And he was looking into what the pyramids were actually made from. And what I actually discovered was that they use a lot of things like limestone and sandstone and things like marble and granite, in that they're able to hold sound and hold light in a way that can be turned into something that projects and transmits. And so they use it in things like energy weapons. That's what Nikola Tesla was working on. And because, see, then what I realised, and if you scroll down to my Instagram, you'll see a picture of Nikola Tesla with the pyramids in the background, from like almost pretty much when I first moved in here. So start looking around about December, January of 22-23 area. But you'll see me working on it, and it's in my LinkedIn page as well, because LinkedIn is where I originally wrote it up, where I was starting to work it out, because I was trying to figure out how to build an organic BFG. And then I figured it out. I had a dream about it with the Virgin Mary. She told me to use it in this place, in this dream. And I figured out how to do it. And basically what I need to do is I need to make like a multi-layered compass, kind of like a combination lock, made up of varying porous and geological rocks and stuff. And limestone and sandstone are going to be two that I'm going to be using. And then I need to put them on top of each other in varying sizes and that, and to be able to twist them and turn them like a dial for what I need, and then put the energy that I need to feed down into the minerals, into the rocks, directly down into the top of it, and then that will go out into the ground and across the ground. Without using any batteries. It will work in the rain, it will work in the sun, it will work in water. It can work anywhere, and I don't need batteries, because that was my thing. When I go out and make these shows, what do I do if I run out of batteries, or there's like a power cut and I can't like charge my handheld one that lights up with dials and that? So I had to think, okay, well, I need to be able to do this organically, but you need to have an understanding of geology. And Nikola Tesla, you know, with the Aileen Moore lighthouse and all of that, a lot of, I believe that they were a test subject for these energy weapons, and they were using the rocks, you know, the geological, because I looked into what that island is made of, The actual rocks itself, I looked into it. If you go to my Aileen Moore Lighthouse, my first podcast one, I've got links up that show you what the actual lighthouse island itself is made from. Because when it comes to energy weapons, the geology, the geological makeup of the minerals and rocks and stones and that really, really do matter as to whether they want to transmit sound or energy, and even make you project images with your mind. So seeing things that aren't really there. They can do all of that. They've admitted it. They don't even hide it anymore. But it goes back to Nikola Tesla. So, the rocks with which you stand on does matter. And actually, my Ben Nevis investigation with Michael Faraday's laws of induction, is it? I'll put, God, I'm going to put a lot of links in the description box below. So yeah, I'll put links to my story and the Ben Nevis investigation, like it's all there, and my Aileen Moore one as well. So if you click on the links in the description box below, you'll see that I looked into what the rocks are made of and all of that, because I promise you it really does matter. The rocks can mess with your head if you're not in the same frequency and vibration. Like it can even like give you migraines, and it can do all sorts of things if your feet tread where your body isn't aligned. So, and they know this. They know all of this because of people like Nikola Tesla, because he was fascinated with that sort of stuff. But the mistake he made is that he thought it was to do with aliens, and it's not. It's biorhythmics. It's biorhythmic engineering. It's basically humans working with the frequency of the universe in order to do some pretty incredible supernatural things. To be able to, work with the rocks and the mountains and the dirt and the soil and that mess with people's heads and stuff is pretty diabolical, supernatural science kind of stuff. It is very impressive. It's just unfortunately it's not used for good things. But that's where I come in, because I'm like the counterbalance. Because what I create with it, what I do with it, is for healing what they are making you experience. What I create will help you heal from what they're doing to you. Because my stuff is stronger because I don't need to use machines and computers and electricity, and they can't beam anything down into what I'm laying down in the form of my BFG, because they wouldn't know the combinations. They could fire whatever they wanted down at that rock formation, and they wouldn't know any of the combinations, but I know the combinations because I was taught how to put them in the phases. So, it's like my BFG is basically like a stack of rocks that looks like a primitive combination lock. But you have to have the codes to put in the phases, to put in the energy particles in the atmosphere, in the Earth's atmosphere. A trillion billion AIs couldn't even guess one of my combinations. So, yeah. So I'm going to put that into my BFG, and then I can take it anywhere, and I don't have to worry about needing batteries, or like if it's raining or anything like that, I can still do what I have to do. In places like the killing fields and that, like I can do a lot of incredible things there. I just have to get the combination locks right to unlock it all. It could have even, like this was the early basis for my kinetic energy, which is, my kinetic engine, which is why I knew it was a bad idea, because of the fact that it's too easy to manipulate kinetic energy. And in the wrong mind, it would be dangerous. You could crash cars with your mind, and if it had a kinetic energy in it, a kinetic engine in it, so I couldn't have that, because I have a conscience, unlike the ones that use it for all the wrong reasons. And yeah, so I was able to figure out what Nikola Tesla got wrong, and so I'm helping restore the balance. I had a dream about him where he apologized. He said he didn't know what he was building was going to hurt so many people, that it wasn't his intention to hurt anyone. That dream's up on X. But yeah, so I helped. I filled in the blanks for him, and as a result, I can now build my organic BFG. And then I did think, because we're talking about rocks and customs and going through other countries, as long as as long as I have access to these, to minerals and rocks and stuff in any country, I'll be completely fine. I can make it up on the spot if I have to. Because anywhere that I investigate, one of the first things that I'm going to do is look at the geological makeup of the area. This stuff really does matter. People think it doesn't, but it does. That's why you shouldn't be using crystals. People don't realise what bad juju crystals can bring. Having crystals in your home is like a big no-no. But anyway, that's why limestone. I just find it very interesting that my phone went completely spasmodic on me. It was manipulatable. Oh, God. Anyway, so yeah, that's why limestone. I just, I forgot to say it in the other video. So I'll speak to you later. Ka kite no manipulatable. I have to look that up now.